Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Langley Events Center, the site for Game 4 of the 2019 Rogers WHL Championship Series. My name is Taylor Roca. With me, as always, Brock Boot. Brock, we were here last night for Game 3, and I think it's safe to say that what took place at the Langley Events Center was far from unexpected. An 8-2 victory for the Prince Albert Raiders as they really put their mark on this series.
Yeah, they did. I think it caught a lot of people off guard, like you said. The series up until the first period of last night's game has been very tightly contested, and we talked before the game about if nerves might come into play as Vancouver comes home, and I think it's fair to say whether it was nerves or whatever it was definitely a tough first period for the Giants, and credit Prince Albert for coming out and being prepared, and they really put their foot on the gas pedal right from puck drop, and we'll see what happens tonight.
3 power play goals for the Raiders in the first period, as you mentioned, and we heard Vancouver Giants head coach Michael Dick say after Game 3 that, look, his team needs to be more disciplined. 3 power play goals against in the first period. It ended up being 4 power play goals against by the time the night was done. So that's certainly a key that the Giants are going to need to button down if they're to come out on the other end of this one in Game 4. So we'll look for that. Special teams are always going to be a key. Ultimately, the 2 goals that Vancouver got in Game 3 came on the man advantage as well. So you know that they're going to be out to make good on those opportunities. Now, discipline isn't going to be the only key come Game 4, Brock. What is it that you're looking for from the Vancouver Giants come Game 4?
Well, we saw in Prince Albert the Raiders had a rough first period in Game 1, and they were able to kind of find their game, much like I think the Giants did in Game 2 after a tough first period. Coach Michael Dick said last night that he didn't mind the rest of their game, and I think if they're able to do what the Raiders did after Game 1, and come out after a tough Game 3 and have a good start in Game 4 and maybe get the first goal, I think that will inject a lot of life into a Giants team that definitely probably could use it after a tough Game 3. And the good thing for them is they get to get right back out and get right back into another game. I know sometimes if you sit on something like that, it can really fester and it's not good for the team. So I think the opportunity to come back out tonight, get right back out, flush whatever happened last night away, and hit the reset button and get out and get off to a good start. And I think that will bode well for the Giants.
Head coach Michael Dick did say in his post-game following Game 3 that he was happy with the response of his club in the second period. And, we did see a different Giants team once the first period was in the books. But ultimately, and we kind of talked about this after Game 1 when it came to the Raiders, the mountain was just too high for the Giants to climb down 7-0. So certainly a better Giants team in periods 2 and 3, which you'd like to think they can build upon heading into Game 4. Ultimately, the Prince Albert Raiders are a team fueled by their best players being their best players. And we saw in Game 3, Brett Leeson, Parker Kelly, Dante Hanoun, 3-point performances from each of them. And you look back at Games 1 through 3, and those guys have been involved, start to finish. They're the driving force behind the success of the Prince Albert Raiders.
Well, in addition to that, we also saw guys like Cole Fonstad and Ozzy Weisblatt hit the score sheet in Game 3. So if that's any indication of what the Raiders are going to get from those guys moving forward, it does bode well for them. And head coach Mark Habscheid spoke very highly of the depth of his forward lines in the post-game for Game 3 and just listing off what each of those guys brings to the table. And it really speaks to the depth of this Prince Albert Raiders team. And I think it's a huge part of why this team was ranked so highly all season. And we'll see if they're able to carry that forward again into Game 4. And if you're the Vancouver Giants, you're still only down 1 game in this series. At the end of the day, Coach Michael Dick said, you know what, it doesn't matter if we lost by 5 or if we lost by 1, we're still only down by a game. The sun will come up, and all we can do is control tonight. And so if you're the Vancouver Giants, you have to throw away last night. You have to just come into tonight, stick to your game plan, keep composed, and I think that will bode well for them.
Can the Vancouver Giants overcome adversity in Game 4, or will the Prince Albert Raiders carry momentum from a big Game 3 win? We'll find out tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time, Game 4 of the 2019 Rogers WHL Championship Series. Catch all the action at WHLlive.com.